How to easily commission your ETOS. Today, in the 20th episode of our ETOS tutorials, I want to show you some valuable tips and tricks for a successful commissioning of your ETOS. The more functions you have, the more complex ETOS becomes. But no worries, with this video, you'll commission ETOS like a pro. First trick is right here on my table. Feel free to use a USB to Ethernet adapter. USB-A, USB-C to Ethernet, doesn't matter which one, but you can pre-configure this adapter very easily to always have the same IP address, and whenever I reconnect that specific adapter now to my laptop, it'll always memorize or remember the last IP address settings. So I can use it as a plug-and-play connector for ETOS. Number 2, the ping exe. So I have added a little file into my desktop configuration. So whenever I connect to ETOS system, I'm going to start the ping exe to actually verify that the settings of my adapter and the settings of the ETOS system are perfectly matching, so I can open the visualization easily. Therefore, for sure you can by default configure exe for your desktop, which will always ping the default IP address for ETOS, which is always the 192.168.165.1. Number 3, the export of the system image and the settings file. So therefore, follow me onto the visualization. So we're going to go to Settings, and now all the way down to the export. Now under export, you can get your system image and your settings file. So I recommend every service technician to always get your settings file and system image before you start your work. Whatever you do, this will always be your backup for any instance if you need to return to the earlier configurational state or to the earlier configuration of the system. You always have these files ready at your hand, which gives you some extra confidence for whatever you're supposed to do. Also, a system image and a settings file from the beginning of the commissioning process can be used very easily as a default factory setting configuration. So as we are already on the home screen of ETOS here, on the visualization, I want to show you another little function or another little trick that I have used myself for each and every ETOS commissioning I have performed over the years. So therefore I want to leave the full screen mode here on my laptop, and I want to do a right click on my browser and click the duplicate button on the currently active tab. That will open a second identical tab, second identical connection to the same ETOS system here, which allows me to have two independent views of the same system at the same time. Why is this very helpful? Well, I can check here into the AVR screen, for example, and here go into the settings of the automatic voltage regulator and change parameters, and I can view the changes in live on the other page. Number 5, I'm using that same function, the split screen, a lot more. So the next point is the DIO, the digital input output card, the hardware view. So we have a DIO 4220 here, and for example, I want to select the RS2001 here at terminal number 20. Now, the hardware page here on the right side shows me exactly the hardware condition, meaning I can see, is there a signal arriving at the input terminal number 20, yes or no? That's my hardware. Now, the DIO configuration with the option to change the high and low characteristics of each and every input creates some misunderstanding from time to time. And if I go down in my configuration here, I can find the RS2001 and I can change that to low active. Now, the change from high to low active simply means that ETOS will treat an arriving signal either as an alarm or as a normal condition. So low active says if there is no signal, ETOS should treat the condition for the RS2001 as an alarm. Now, we can see there is physically no signal because there is no blue indicator here at the RS2001 on the right side. If I change that from high to low active and accept this, that doesn't change, because what we're seeing on the right side is the physical hardware information. So the physical hardware condition. There is no voltage signal at the input. But if I go to the home screen, I can now see that the shield icon here for the protective devices gives me an indication that my RS2001 is triggered. So the low signal at the input now is regarded as an alarm. Number 6, the AIO configuration and info screen. So let's jump back a bit here and let's go to the AIO card instead of the DIO. The AIO card, we can see now several values here. I'm having a valid OLTC oil temperature. I don't have a top oil right now. I have a ppm value for H2O and a N2 pressure sensor. That's a customized sensor we added here. Now, these are the values that the system is actually measuring. On the left column here, we see the raw input value to the channel. And on the right side, we see the calculated value. So what ETOS makes out of the amps value here, millimicroamps value, and turns it into PSI. Now, herefore, I can go to the AIO configuration. AIO configuration. And I can check the gearbox of the N2 pressure sensor. Now there, if I scroll down, I can actually change a correctional offset. And by changing this, I can actually change, well, the calculated value. So you can see that if I accept that and change it to only 1 PSI, my measured value, which is open loop currently, is remaining where it is, but the calculated value of 5 PSI now changed to 1 PSI. Number 7, the next one. So now I want to go back into my full screen mode and show you the so-called expert mode. So if you go into the parameters, you might have noticed here on the lower right side the checkbox for the expert mode. So that, well, as the name says, is a configuration support for experts. Let's see what happens if we're not using the expert mode and if we're looking into the power monitoring. If I want to change the apparent power value here, I'm always jumping into a sub-menu page where then I can alter the value if I want to, which is quite nice. I have the scale down here, I have the box to enter the value, and I have a little explanation to that. Now, if I need to do that for each and every value, that might take a while. Therefore, we added the expert mode. So if you have done that more than once or a couple of times already, and you supposedly know what you're doing, you check the expert mode. If we now come back to the power monitoring, you can see I can change the value right here on this top page. I don't have to jump into each and every submenu for that, which significantly speeds up my commissioning process here. Therefore, the expert mode can be easily used to speed up your commissioning. Be aware if you make faults in the configuration, the system will simply say there are still errors on that page. But it will not tell you exactly where the problem, how the problem is. If you're having trouble doing that, you can always go back, unselect the expert mode, and then you get in the default mode a much more complex explanation if you have a configurational error somewhere in the system. Number 8 is the search bar. Sometimes it's going to be a bit tricky to find a specific parameter because, well, the more complex the system gets, the longer the list becomes. And, well, with a fully built-up ETOS system, we can easily reach over 1,000 parameters. Now, to keep track of that, we can always use the search bar. So if I'm looking for a specific value there, I can simply type it in here in the search box, and this allows me to easily find the value. So the VT for the voltage transformer gives me right away a hint where I have to look for the primary transformer voltage and secondary transformer voltage in the transformer data. And I can simply jump in and alter the value right away here. That gives me a good way to find things on a quicker basis if I know what I'm looking for. So, hope you enjoyed these few little tricks on how to successfully commission your ETOS system. Thanks for watching. See you again soon.